Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the Sagittarius Gemini Eclipse Cycle. This Sagittarius Gemini Eclipse Cycle graces us for the better part of 18 to 24 months here on the globe. It spans 2020 to 2021, as you can see here on the right side of your screen. And it's very interesting in that if we scroll back, the last time we had a Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle were the years 2011 through 2012, where we experienced the end of the Mayan calendar, and we also experienced the harmonic convergence and some of the beginning of the opening of the 2012 gateways. That being said, the energy that we have going on right now in 2020 and 2021 is a continuation and an upgrade of some of these energies, allowing us to bring forward a lot of the intention set during that time for the evolution of a new earth, the evolution of a new way of being as humans on planet earth, and the cultivation of living with one another on earth in more light and in more love. What you see in front of you here on the left is the very beginning of this cycle for the 2021 energies. And this is the June 5th, 2020 lunar eclipse. This video is going to cover the general energies. We won't get into each one because this is such a volatile period of time that we're about to walk through and pass through. How each one is going to play out is actually going to be extremely contingent upon what we've done in the preceding cycles. So let's get into some of the overall themes here and how to work with this energy so that you can achieve the best results in your life. I definitely invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Haven't already, definitely hit the like button as well. That helps the content circulate and find its way to people who need it. You can see here that 2020 is a pretty heavy duty eclipse year, very much like the preceding cycle. I believe it was 2011. There were 6 eclipses in 2011 preceding that 2012 year. And we've got the same thing going on here. 6 eclipses, 6. Very volatile years in both cases, opening up a gateway and a new decade of energy. This eclipse cycle overlaps with the Cancer Capricorn eclipse cycle. You'll see that there are some closeouts from that previous eclipse cycle. It also overlaps with the very beginning of the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle, which comes after this in 2022. This eclipse cycle also begins with a series of endings. Lunar eclipses are eclipses that portend closings. Their energy can be in effect and felt as much as 6 months away. You'll notice some of the biggest impact concentrated within the 90 days of the eclipse, where you'll kind of notice, okay, this is what's closing out in my world. And you'll want to note for yourself which house in your chart is hosting the closeout so that you understand how to flow with the energies instead of resisting them, how to invite them in instead of letting them kind of bang down your door. Then we have a series of solar eclipses on the same axis. Solar eclipses portend new beginnings. They are, as my teacher Nadia Shah says, like new moons on steroids. You'll see these solar eclipses begin at the tail end of 2020 and they go into 2021. And the lunar eclipses are taking up most of the energy here in 2020 on this eclipse cycle. We've got eclipse axis, the Sag Gemini axis. We've got these three lunar eclipses that are saying close out a cycle. So, what cycle is closing out, and how do we know? Well, the first thing to understand is that these are masculine energies. The zodiac is divided into masculine and feminine energies. And Sagittarius and Gemini are both masculine signs. So there's some kind of cycle closing out for us on planet Earth as it pertains to the way we have been operating our masculinity. And this has been in effect for some time now. It's almost as a response to the call that came in 2018 at the beginning of the Capricorn Cancer eclipse cycle with the Me Too movement. That conversation around the exposure of the oppression of women via a um, systemic misogynist, systemic sexist kind of way of interacting with women really came to the light during that Capricorn Cancer cycle at the beginning of it. Specifically, Capricorn and Cancer are feminine signs. This Sag Gemini, masculine signs, we are now going to experience a great rewrite or a great redirection and course correction as it pertains to masculine energies. We had that rewrite and redirection for feminine energies. Their feminine energies put up some boundaries, they surfaced some issues. Masculine energies are responding. They will now create new ways forward. Um, and this is just collectively speaking, you will note that there are some ways in which energetically, personally, you're going to be interacting with your masculine energies in a new way, whether you are male or female. Um, what else can I say here? The other thing to note is that, this 2020 year, just as a footnote, is actually full of a lot of endings. You'll see a lunar eclipse here in January, a second one followed in June, a new lunar eclipse here in July, a second one followed in November. As I mentioned, the lunars are closings. And so this 2020 year is the closeout of some really significant cycles for all of us, both in our masculine and feminine energies. As you can see, we've got the Capricorn Cancer and the Sag Gemini closings. We only get two solar eclipses this year, two new beginnings. And this new beginning energy is going to set the tone for what comes in 2021. This is also interesting because Sag and Gemini are part of a singular axis in the zodiac wheel. If you look over here at the chart, here's Gemini. The opposite sign, the opposite energy is Sagittarius. So they're linked, they're 180 degrees apart. And they are an energy that works together as a pair in the wheel. Every sign and its opposite sign work together as a pair. That being said, this pair energy, they sit on what I call the axis of communication. 3 and 9, Sag and Gemini, are about the way we speak and the way we think. And this closeout, this energy of completion, is coming for us in some area of our life through the way we speak and think. So let's just say Sag and Gemini for you happen to be sitting on house 4 and house 10. This is new thinking, new communication in the arena of home and work. Let's just say Sag and Gemini sit on house 1 and house 7. This is new thinking and new communication and ending of old cycles as it pertains to yourself and the way you do romantic partnerships and business partnerships. Where Sag and Gemini sit in your chart is going to show you where this new thinking and new communication is going to emerge. It's also important to understand that the way these two are linked is very interesting when you think about manifestation and creation and creatorship as a divine skill. Um, these Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is understood to be the symbol of faith, hope, optimism, expansion. It is also understood to be an expression of our manifestation abilities to manifest things via our actions. Fire signs being active signs, action signs. Gemini over here is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is about communication, it's about thought and mind. And when you put these two together, what we have is because Sagittarius is the later sign of the zodiac, Gemini is the younger sign of the zodiac. Gemini evolves into Sagittarius. Our thoughts evolve into actions. Our mind creates our worlds. And so, what's really being offered here for us is an opportunity to manifest a very different future than the timeline we are living on, based on how we are thinking and what we are saying. And so, what's fun about this is that the North Node is here in Gemini saying, clear up, clean up thinking, clean up your words. Be mindful of how you are expressing your experience. I can't remember which American president said it, but the saying goes, whether you believe you're right or believe you're wrong, you're right. And so I don't even know if I'm quoting that correctly, but the idea here is that we're in a very potent cycle of manifesting. And it's understand that potent, potency, potential, potentiality, and the potentiated state that you live in is one that has more magic, more ears listening from the divine, more capacity for your thoughts to become things very, very, very rapidly in these 2 years, and then chart a course for the next 10 to 12 years forward. Choose your thoughts, choose your words extremely carefully. Quite often, by the time we're already thinking it or saying it in particular, it's already too late. The cultivation of quality high vibrational thoughts and the cultivation of high vibrational words that manifest a high vibrational reality begin well before the words have come out of our mouths. So it's incredibly important to be doing what you need to do to fertilize high vibrational thoughts in your world. If you know you're a person who struggles with depression or negative thinking or chronic catastrophizing, this is a moment where it's going to be excessively critically important to do what you need to do to get your brain under your own control, rather than letting your brain control you. If you need, to see a doctor about the depression, or if you need to change up your supplements or change your diet or get more sunlight, I don't know, whatever it is you need to do in order to create the fertile ground for high vibrational thinking. The higher the vibration your thinking is, the higher the vibration of your speaking will be. And the higher that faith, the better the timeline you'll be able to manifest into as we move forward out of this eclipse cycle. That's kind of the overall message here. Okay, what else is here in my notes? Yeah, and so, excuse me, beloveds. Um, this is a moment of great awakening and great choice and a great realignment. Um, During this cycle, people and places are going to be shifted to be where they are also soul contracted to be, doing what they are soul contracted to need to do. Um, and what's interesting about that is that, as beautiful as that can be, sometimes it can also be extremely uncomfortable and painful to be placed on that soul contracted, we wrote this down before we came in. Here we are, we're now living into the soul contract. It can be a really uncomfortable experience sometimes to get that cosmic shift and that divine call. I shared in the community section of my channel not that long ago that sometimes um, spirit will help us step into our light work by rendering us incapable of doing anything else, either by sickness or by firing or job loss, etc. And so, this is the kind of moment where, that kind of change could occur. And it could feel like, wow, what a loss or what a blow. But it's actually a real blessing. And that blessing becomes evident the closer and closer you get to stepping into what that soul contract is meant to be for you. And so you may find that there are for some of you, certain relationships that close out, and certain people who depart. For others of you, certain work that completes and closes out. Um, for others, certain mental thinking, certain things that you've manifested before, and projects that only came to half fruition instead of full fruition. You're going to close some of those things out now so that you can begin the new cycle, and begin the new path forward for the next decade. With regard to that, it's also important to remember that Sagittarius and Gemini are mutable signs. Virgo and Pisces are also mutable signs. When you think about the mutable seasons and mutable signs, the mutable seasons are seasons of significant transformation and change. So you think about the Gemini season. Gemini specifically is the season where we start as spring, but we end as summer. Virgo, we start as summer, but we end as spring. Now, of course, if you're in the southern hemisphere of the United States, it's the inverse for you. Not United States, but the planet. It's the inverse for you. Sagittarius, we start as fall, but we end fully in winter. In Pisces, we start fully in winter, but we end in springtime. When you think about the way those seasons change, it's important to understand that, 1 week we may have weather from, let's just say we're headed into spring from winter. We may have a spring week only to be followed by a winter week or two, only to then step forward again into another spring week. So it's very important during this time to keep your eyes on your destination and where things are headed, because this cycle is going to feel just a little bit like one step back, two steps forward. And just because things appear to step back does not mean they are not headed to the next season. And it's very important to be aware of that and to understand that and to know that. Because as things do the dance of a step back, two steps forward, what we'll be witnessing is a great awakening among the collective and a great realignment within ourselves. What appears to be a step back is simply the revelation of an already in existence incongruency with where we're going. And that incongruency is getting exposed and surfaced so that we can create the alignment we need. Okay. So it's important to, especially if you know you have those challenges, I think we all do sometimes with the mind being the battlefield, and really not working with us, but instead working against us. It's going to be excessively important to do what you must do to activate your mind and get it to be your ally instead of your enemy. Do the affirmations you need, do the recordings you need, the subliminal recordings you need, do the writing you need to affirm yourself and where you're headed. Um, because the faith piece is a really big piece of what's going to dictate what we choose to say and choose to meditate on in our minds before the thoughts become words and the words become realities. Okay, so that's kind of the big news of this eclipse cycle. As we move forward, um, I'm going to talk a lot more about, each eclipse and how it impacts us as we move through the new and the full moon energies. I just wanted to drop this update for the entire cycle so that you had a sense of what to expect, given, what you may be seeing. There will be, for those of you who want more information about this, I was given some channeled messages specifically for twin flames, twin souls, and ascension partners for this time period. So I'm going to be sharing those with the private list. If you're not already on the private list, definitely sign up for that. There's a link just below this video that says join the private list, and then you'll be able to get access to that information. But otherwise, as I've mentioned, at the moment, I'm really focused on serving those who want to step into their light work. As the twins are on very different journeys this year. So if you'd like to get a personal reading to see how all of this plays out for you and where you're meant to redirect your life so that you're ready and available when divine partnership shows up for you, just email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, and you'll receive an autoresponder that tells you how to book a personal reading with me. And as soon as you book, then you will receive the scheduling invitation to set up your appointment. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing. And once again, if you're looking for that update for twins and divine connections, just click the link to get on the private list below. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. Take great care. Bye for now.